We are finally back, brothers and sisters. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is Mike, and I'm simply here to do God's work as always. And you guys actually caught me at a good time because I was in the middle of reading one of my favorite books in the Bible. Excuse me, Job, one of my favorite books in the Bible. But today we're going to be talking about digging a little deeper into the things that most people overlook or they just get comfortable in, which you can't get comfortable in sin because we all know you can't drink the cup of righteousness and the cup of demons at the same time. You're sitting on the fence belongs to Satan, that's lukewarm. But the first thing we're going to talk about that people overlook is Easter. Easter revolves around the goddess Ishtar. She's the goddess of fertility. So what they used to do is they used to have orgies back in the day. Hence the reason why they use the rabbit as their mascot, because the rabbit has a high breeding count. That's all it likes to do is breed. So of course they're going to use the rabbit on Easter. But what they used to do is they used to have orgies and carry the babies for 9 months and then sacrifice these babies and then dip eggs in the baby's blood. That's what they used to do for Easter. So anybody celebrating Easter and dipping eggs and hiding them and having kids going around and hunting these eggs, that is a pagan ceremony. You need to stop doing it. It's not good to be doing. Obviously, Halloween's the same. People are like, oh, I love Halloween. You love Halloween because you can dress up as ghouls and goblins and dress up as something other than yourself. You're giving attention to these demons. That's all you're doing. It's pagan. It's obviously demonic. It's the way it is. Christmas is the same. You're putting up trees in your house that have nothing to do with God. God wasn't even born in December. I don't know where we even got that. God was born around Easter. But even then, still, no one even knows when he was really born. Sometime in the spring is what they're pointing to. But other than that, stop doing Easter. It's pagan. You're sitting on the fence. You can't be doing that. And you're teaching your kids to do it too. You're teaching your kids to believe that the Easter bunny is okay when it's not. Just the way it is. Christmas is the same way. Sure, you can get your family and friends gifts and all that, but you stop celebrating Christmas. Oh, Merry Christmas. What are you even talking about? Putting wreaths up on your door, trees up in your house, figs and all that. That's pagan worship. Doing the same thing as pagan worship. All right. On to the next thing about digging a little deeper. Okay, I got to talk about the Big Bang Theory again because it just baffles me how people think that we came from a singularity or just two atoms banging together and all of a sudden, whoop, here we are. That just doesn't make sense. They don't want to believe in our miracles, but they believe in the miracle that something came from nothing, which is scientifically impossible. But if you tell them that, they're going to look you dead in the eyes and be like, that's what happened. No, something cannot come from nothing. That's common sense. But if you use that on them, they're going to be like, okay, then if you're going to use that knowledge, then where does your God come from? He's the only exception to that rule. The only exception. He's the one who created everything. Even if it did start with two atoms or whatever you guys want to say. God still did that. Still did that. Another thing about the Big Bang Theory is, okay, it was created by a singularity or two atoms clashing together like these evolutionists like to say. That means if that happened, everything would be hurtling into the universe like crazy. The universe would be just hurtling into existence like crazy, out of control. There's no gravity in space, is what they're saying. If there's no gravity in space, what stopped everything from hurtling into space? That doesn't make sense because if what you guys say is true, that means everything hurtle into space, nothing would stop. Everything would just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. So that means you needed some kind of force to stop the planets in perfect synchronicity with themselves. That means the Earth was like, oh, there's the Earth. Oh, here comes the moon. Zoop. Oh, what stopped it there? That's funny. Here comes the sun. Oh, this happens to be a perfect distance from the Earth to bring warmth and light to the planet. But somehow that all happened by chance. No, because if that were the case, if everything happened by chance, I would have 6 eyes or 6 arms or a tail or wings. You're telling me by chance everything just happened to be perfect? Nope, it's not possible. That's like you flipping a coin and landing on heads every single time. Doesn't make sense. Your argument does not add up. And they think they're the smartest people on the planet. Well, we have the evidence, we have the facts, and we have the fossils. Show me the evidence. Show me the facts. How was the planet created? How? Because we follow those rules down here on this planet. Everything that you see, human beings designed it. It didn't design itself. It just can't just grow legs and arms and be like, I'm going to build myself. We designed the robots that we have walking around today. We designed all of that. But for some reason, in an evolutionist mind or an atheist mind, is when you don't agree with that, they'll be like, yes, 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 we created. The moment you mention how the world was created, there is no God, there is no hyper intelligence, there is none of that. No, yes, there is, because that's the only thing that makes sense, because that's the same rules that apply down here. And they're going to be like, no, that's not it. Then what is it? Oh, we can't tell you. We can tell you. It's a God, something with a supernatural intelligence, something that you cannot see. But since you can't see it, they're going to be like, nope, it doesn't exist. We can't see it. There's no evidence of it. You can't see gravity. You can't see wind. You can't see the fundamental forces of this world, but you still believe in them. That doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense. You're making yourself look like a freaking goon. That's just the way it is. And they'll look you dead in the eyes and be like, ha, 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 you're Sky Daddy. Sky Daddy, you're invisible theory. Oh, we all came from soup? Every single human being came from soup? No, because if that was the case, I'd have wings or a beak or feathers or a tail. Oh, we just happen to be set up perfectly, though. It doesn't make any sense. How was the universe created? They cannot give you an answer. They'll be like, well, we don't know that. Well, we know that. But the moment you say that to them, they're going to be like, ha, 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 your Sky Daddy created it? It's better than your story where we came from nothing. You believe in one miracle, and that miracle is nonsense. Oh, we all came from nothing. Somehow. But it's been proven that something cannot come from nothing, but we came from nothing. That doesn't make any sense. Your guys' argument is trash. It doesn't make any sense at all. Make it make sense before you talk the nonsense that you're talking. Wow. On to the next one. Evolution. We are not descendants from primates. We are of the fossilized evidence of every ethnic group. Okay. People want to say we're descendants from primates. So just because we have similar DNA, we're automatically the descendants from primates? No, not at all. And then they want to say like, well, no, we're descendants from Neanderthals. No, we're not. Just because we have similar DNA and we look similar doesn't mean we're the same species at all. Neanderthals could have been their own set of species. They're not humans, they're Neanderthals. Just like chimpanzees. They're not human, they're chimpanzees. Monkeys are monkeys. Apes are apes. Neanderthals are Neanderthals. And here come human beings. Special, designed by God specifically to walk upright, not to have the intelligence that we have because, we ate from the tree of knowledge. That's why we have the intelligence that we have. And of course, we want to be like, well, why are we sick? Why do we have this? Why do we have that? Cancer, all these diseases. Why is the world going to crap? Well, because humans ate from the tree of knowledge and we weren't supposed to. We corrupted ourselves. Adam and Eve were said to be 15 feet tall, 12 to 15 feet. I can see that, but as soon as we ate from that tree of knowledge, we were corrupted, we shrank, we became these shriveled little things we see today. That's what happened. That's what I believe what happened anyways. About the fossilized evidence of every... They say we have fossilized evidence of everything. Okay, everybody's bone structure is different. If everybody's bone structure is different, that means we should find the fossilized bone structures of every single nationality out there. Where's it all at? They say it's there. Where's it at? Because if we evolved, that means every single fossilized ethnic group should be out there somewhere. But we haven't found that. We haven't found any of that. Well, we found bones of our ancestors. Ancestors doesn't mean that we came from them. It means we're very similar to them. I don't think we came from them. People want to be like, where are the bones of the giants? Maybe in the sea somewhere where we can't go or don't go for some reason. We try to go to space. Space. There ain't no space. Ridiculous. No, but the fossilized evidence of every ethnic group out there, since we all have different bone densities, especially blacks from whites, completely different bone structures. Where's all that at? Oh, we have it in museum. Where? Because you'll ask the evolutionists where the evidence is, they will not give you an answer. And then they're just quick to say, well, where's your evidence? My evidence is all around you. My evidence is creation, because obviously without a designer, the earth wouldn't exist. Look how the earth is set up. Look how the sun is set up, perfect distance from the earth. Because you guys want to say it's out in space. Okay, fine, it's out in space. Why is the perfect distance from the planet to bring warmth and light to this world? How is the moon the perfect satellite for this world? How is it not colliding into the planet Earth? How is that possible? They're like, oh, gravity, magnetism, who created those fundamental forces? That's right. That's what God did. That's right. Because something cannot come from nothing. And they'll be like, well, what about your God? He's the one exception to it. He's the one exception to that rule. He is the Alpha and he's the Omega, the beginning and the end. There had to be something at the beginning to create something. That's the way that works. I'm like, well, he existed. No, he existed outside of the universe. He existed outside of time, space, and matter. He created time, space, and matter. Basically, picture him having the universe in his hand. God, the universe in his hand. He could just look and observe it. That's what I picture him as. Just looking at the universe and observing it in his hand. Because that's God for you. All right, moving on to the paradox theories, the problems that people come up with. They say, since God is omnipotent, can he create a stone too heavy for himself to lift? People want to be like, no, that's not possible. Actually, yeah, it is. Because God's omnipotent, which means he can do anything he wants to, even make a stone too heavy for himself to lift. Because the way that you would solve this problem is, okay, think about Jesus. Jesus is God in human form. Jesus came down here as a man. As a man, he could do the miracles that God allowed him to do, allowed himself to do. But if somebody came up and asked Jesus, hey, Jesus, can you go over there and push that mountain and move it? I guarantee you he'd look at you and be like, no, I can't do that. I'm a human being. And they're going to be like, well, what about the miracles that you're doing? The miracles I'm having through my Father? That's how I'm doing these miracles. I'm helping people through me, through the Father. It's coming down from heaven through me to you. That's how I'm doing these miracles. You're not going to tempt God and be like, okay, well, if that's the case, go move that mountain. He's not going to be able to do that. One, he's not going to be able to do it. And two, he's probably not going to do it because you're just tempting the Lord, which you're not supposed to do. Which a lot of people do. I can't say I'm not guilty of it. I've done it too. Well, go ahead and do this for me, God, if you're real. Something you shouldn't do. But no, God is omnipotent. He can do whatever he wants. So if God came down here in human form as Jesus, let's just say he created a rock specifically designed for Jesus not being able to lift. Jesus is going to go to that stone. He's going to try to lift it, and he's not going to be able to do it because that's specifically how God designed it. Okay? Now, let's just say Jesus died. He died on the cross. He rose on the third day, and he ascended into heaven. Let's say Jesus came back down again. And that stone that he wasn't able to lift before, he's just going to be able to push it with one finger because he's in his glorified body now. There ain't no rules. There ain't no rules no more. There ain't no human no more. He's a supernatural God now. He died on the cross for our sins as a human being. During that time, he would have not been able to lift that stone that God himself created too heavy for Jesus to lift. This all makes, I don't see how people can't make sense of this. He is omnipotent. That means you can do anything that you want to do, even if it doesn't make sense. So yes, God can specifically create a stone too heavy for Jesus to lift. He'd be like, oh, I can't lift it. And then, after that time in death and in hell and rising on the third day and being glorified and going into heaven and coming back down here at any time, he'd be like, oh, I can't lift it. I'm just kidding. I can lift it. I'm God. I can do whatever I want, It's the same with the squared circle. No one's ever really seen the squared circle. God can probably do it. People are like, no, that's a paradox. You can't do it. God can do whatever he wants. If he drew a squared circle or showed you a squared circle, it'd probably blow your mind all over the sidewalk. It probably would. You'd be like, how did he do that? It's God. He can do whatever he wants. If lifting a stone is too heavy for God to lift, if that's a paradox, then Jesus Christ coming down here as the Father is a paradox. Rising on the third day is a paradox. He was dead 3 days. He rose on the third day. People don't question that. They're just like, oh, yeah, he rose on the third day, and that's the way it is. Okay, what about the stone theory? Oh, he can't lift that stone. Yes, he can. It could just be a gag joke to God if he wanted to be. He'd be like, oh, I can't lift it for real. He'd be like, psych, I'm God. I can do whatever I want. I can decide if I don't want to lift the stone. I can make myself lift it. That's easy to answer. That's not a paradox. That's just simple stuff. All right, moving on. Moving on to the ark. The arrival of the ark. People want to say, okay, how did the animals get there? How are they sustained? How did all that happen? How do they all fit on the ark? Okay, one, They all fit on the ark. All animals didn't have to be in walking stage. They could have been eggs. They could have been baby animals, which saves up a lot of space on that ship. Eggs, babies, all that type. Okay, they want to be like, well, how did they get there? How did all the animals from all around the world get there? I'm pretty sure it took the ark like 600 something years to be built, if not longer. So that gives plenty of time for the animals to walk there. Plus, if the animals were too far away at that time, God could have snapped them there. No one ever wants to. Everybody always wants to question that. Well, how did the animals get there then? God could have snapped them there. It's easy. Easy answer. God could do anything. He could have snapped them there. He could have just said, all animals are now meant to go to the ark. Or like God used to say, be fruitful and multiply to the animals of the sea or the land. Be fruitful and multiply. Just like he said to Adam and Eve, be fruitful and multiply. All right. All animals are now to head to the ark. All the animals started heading towards the ark because God said so. They would have been like, well, how will the animals sustain then? God, just like God sustained the Israelites out in the desert for 40 years with manna, the bread content, the substance. They could have did that on the ship. Oh, well, all the animals were eating all that. Well, yeah. If God tells the animals to do something, they're going to do it. That's just the way everything works. Sorry. God owns this universe. It belongs to him. That's why there are rules. And he wants the rules. He puts those rules out there specifically so we can remain holy and get back into heaven with him. That's what it is. People want to be like, okay, then, well, how did I all use the bathroom and all that stuff? There could have been bathrooms on the ark. I could have cracked in buckets and then dumped it over. But what about all the animals? God could have sustained them. He could have been like, no animals to use the restroom. He could have been like, no animals to eat. He could have did all that. He could have sustained all of them for as long as they were on the flooded earth. He could have sustained all that. I think it was like 40 days and 40 nights of rain. So, yeah, he could have sustained all that. The Israelites were sustained in the desert for 40 years with God's help, finding water, finding food, all that stuff. Easy answers. Now, let's get to the theory of, okay, well, if it was just Adam and Eve that started everything, that means there was incest. Okay. That means there was incest. Yeah. Did you ever think about the fact that Adam and Eve were the first human beings to ever exist? That means they were purebloods. The very first human beings, purebloods. Their DNA was perfect, which means they can have kids. Their kids can have kids. They can have kids. They can have kids. They can have kids. Those kids will grow up. Those kids can be together, and those kids can have kids. And those kids are going to be pure-blooded kids because Adam and Eve are purebloods. And if they're two purebloods having kids, those kids are purebloods. Those kids are purebloods. And the kids are going to turn out perfect. There is no downgraded gene or DNA because their genes are perfect. They can have kids with basically anybody, and the kids are going to come out perfectly. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that show Invincible, where the Viltrumites are basically they have perfect DNA, and it doesn't matter who they breed with. The kid will always turn out looking like the father because the Viltrumites have perfect DNA. It's the same thing with Adam and Eve. They can have kids with anybody, and the kids will end up turning out to be perfect. Perfect breed of people. Excuse me, guys, for just a second. So figure out where I am here. But anyway, that's what I believe. Because they always want to make fun of us. Oh, we all came from inbreded. Well, if the pure-blooded theory is correct, yes, that makes sense. Because all the kids could have had kids, as kids, as kids, as kids. They all could have been keeping them in the family, and it all would have been perfect. And it just would have grown and grew and grew and grew into this huge nation. Yeah, and all the people of that nation probably would have looked similar. Yep. Okay. Let us make man in our image. People always get that confused. They're like, well, who is he talking to? The angels? The angels aren't made in God's image. No. Jesus was with God in the beginning. The Word was with God in the beginning. That even comes from the copy of the Gospel of John, said to be basically the same message. Today it's called P66. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. 2,000 years, 2nd century. Same thing was said in the Gospel of John's Bible. The same thing it says today. So People that want to say, oh, the word is ever changing. No, it's not. Evolution's ever changing. The word stays the same. Yeah, sometimes people will go in there and government will try to go in there and alter it so they can keep people off the path of God because the government's demonic, and anybody who believes in the government is crazy and you're out of your mind because they're not for you. They drink blood, but they drink blood behind closed doors. They kidnap kids. They sacrifice. They do all that demonic stuff. That's why all these celebrities are out there dressing in dresses and have to dress in drag. They have to do that to keep famous because that's what the devil wants them to do. They want them to put that out there because young kids, impressionable minds, are the ones watching these people out there on these TV shows. And if they go and do it, they're going to be like, oh, if they're doing it, it's completely okay for us to do it. That's demonic. We know what you guys are up to. You guys are demonic. Hollywood is obviously demonic and full of pedophiles, vampires, and crazy people. But anyway, back to where I was. What did they eat back in the day? A vegan and fruit diet. See, back in the day, I would agree with these vegans and these people that eat fruit. Oh, I'm going to strictly eat vegetables and fruit. Not today, you're not. That'll definitely kill you. Times have changed. Since the flood, times have changed. We're supposed to eat meat now. People are like, no, we're not. That's murder. We're allowed to eat meat. Why do you think we have canines? We're allowed to eat meat. We're supposed to eat meat. Back in the day when Adam and Eve were in the garden and all the animals, strictly vegetation and fruit diets. Yes, animals weren't eating each other. The only reason animals are eating each other now is because they're corrupted, just like Adam was. Adam had dominion over every single animal in the garden. When Adam ate from that tree of knowledge, it corrupted him and it corrupted his dominion, which in turn corrupted the animals. The animals started eating each other. Adam started eating meat as well. Eve probably started eating meat too. Yeah, they were sustained on bread because, give us this day our daily bread. Bread is like this great thing. Even manna, Israelites in the desert, bread, give us our day our daily bread. Everything revolves around bread. Bread is where it's at. When people go to heaven in their testimony, they say it smells like bread and honey. Obviously, God loves bread because it's good for you. It really is. The original bread was good for you. It was good for your heart. It was good for everything about you. It was good for you. But no, the animals became corrupted too. Adam and Eve were corrupted. They shrank into these little shriveled things we see today. The animals were corrupted. They started eating one another. The bugs started eating one another. Everything had a vegetable and fruit diet. Even the fish of the sea probably ate kelp. They probably ate kelp. The oxygen levels were better back then too, before the flood, which means everything was bigger. All the animals were bigger. People want to picture this tiny little snake in the garden. It was probably a massive, massive serpent that was in the garden. Its head was probably this big. And Eve was talking to it like, oh, God told me I shouldn't eat from this tree, otherwise I will die. And the devil's like, you'll die? No, you just become more like God. You should do it. Open your eyes. Eat from the tree of knowledge. Go ahead and do it. And he got Eve specifically because Eve was the key to all humanity, basically. Obviously, Adam was first, but Eve was the baby maker. That's why he went after Eve and not Adam, because if he corrupts Eve, he corrupts the rest of mankind, because we all came from Eve. But Eve came from Adam, because there's a lot of people out there that said, like, no, females are first. No, and they always want to compare God to a female. No, it's God the Father. Jesus Christ was with him. Two males. Those are men. He made Adam. Adam was a male, the first man. And then Eve was born out of Adam. Took a rib out of Adam and made it into Eve. Still, a man was first. People are trying to twist it and say, like, no, well, God wasn't fit. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. That's not biblical. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. The big fish theory, Jonah and the big fish. They're like, there's no way a man can sit inside of a fish's belly for 3 days and live. If he was being sustained by God, he could. It might have been a horrific experience, but it's probably for a reason. And if God was sustaining him, yes, he could. Because most people look at the Bible and they're like, there's all this wacky stuff going on. I can't explain it. Yes, you can. If you find a hole in the Bible, fill it with God. Fill it with the grace of God, and it will make 110% sense. Yes, it will. Just fill it with the grace of God, and it'll always make sense. All right, what else we got here? Okay, the scary movie thing. The scary movies are at an all-time high. I don't know what is going on, but it's out of control. The movie just came out called Sinners. Michael B. Jordan. It's called Sinners. The other one's called, I don't really know what it's called, but it's about bringing the dead back to life. What is going on in Hollywood, dudes? Everything that's coming out is a demonic movie now. There's nothing but demonic movies coming out. People are like, no, there's not. Go look at the roster. I guarantee you it's 90% demonic movies. Yeah, there might be some other things in there, but it's still demonic stuff. It's like, oh, the accountant's not demonic. Is there killing in it? Is there killing in it? That's demonic. That's demonic. It's killing in it. So I came out with this comment yesterday, or post yesterday on Facebook, that I pretty much called out video gamers because I like to watch game ragers on YouTube where these people just flip out because they just can't win in a game. So I posted on my profile a bunch of things that people overlook as sins, and one of them was video game playing. And I had someone get on there like, video game playing is not a sin. I'm like, if you focus on video games and put a majority of your time into a video game, yes, it's a sin. It becomes idol worship because you're basically worshiping this video game. You're spending all your time on that video game, and half of you people get mad at the video games when you lose. I can say I'm one of those people. I don't throw my controllers or nothing like that, but I'll be like, oh, I just won, just like that. People do it all the time. Most of them break their keyboards, their controllers, whatever. They rage out. People are like, oh, that's not a sin. Yes, it is. Rage is a sin. Getting angry is a sin. You're getting out of control. You're putting your time and attention into this video game instead of God. Because it was a female like, I play games. There's nothing wrong with these games. So what you're saying is that means 8 hours a day of work is a sin. That means taking care of my kid is a sin. You can't compare any of the two. That's just ignorant for you even to say that. And for you to get on here and say that what I'm saying is wrong, it's ruffling your feathers, that's how you know it's a sin. That's how you're trying to make excuses for it. That's how you know you're trying to make excuses for it, is because you're like, oh, well, it's not a sin because you're getting angry. It's ruffling your feathers. That's how you know it's a sin. You're putting too much time and you're basically glorifying games. Like, there's nothing wrong with playing video games. I like games. I put 2 hours a day into it. Yeah, you're glorifying them. You're getting angry. It's ruffling your feathers. That's how you know I'm right. You tell the truth. If people get stir crazy because you're telling the truth, you know that what you're saying is the truth, because the truth always ruffles people's feathers. Forgive me. It always does, and it always will. A girl tried to compare work to that. I'm like, man's punishment for eating from the tree of knowledge was to work and till the land. Yeah, we have to work. We can rest. We work 8 hours and we rest. Yes, we have to. But then again, we work for people and they pay us a duly wage. It says that in the Bible. Pay your slaves or the people that work for you a good wage. That's another one I want to hit on. People are like, oh, why does the Bible say slaves? What? It's glorifying slavery? It's not glorifying slavery. It's just telling you what you're already doing. People are like, we're not slaves anymore. Yes, we are. If I don't pay my house payment, my house gets taken. My car payment, my car gets taken. If I don't do what the government tells me, I end up in a cell. Yeah, we're slaves. If I go out and slap somebody, I'm behind bars now because I can't do what I want to do. Slavery. We don't even have freedom of speech anymore. You want to get on YouTube, or you want to get on Instagram or Facebook and try to say what you want to say, they'll block you. They'll ban it. They'll be like, no, you can't say that. It's because we don't have a freedom of speech. That's what that is. We're not free in this country. We're just freedom with extra steps. That's all that is. Freedom with extra steps. We still got to do what the government tells us. And if we don't, you lose your home, you lose your house, you'll be locked up. Because if you own your house and you don't pay property tax, guess what? They still take your house because you're not paying the property tax that for some reason the government thinks that they own, which they don't. They think they own everything, which they don't. It's just a bunch of men got together, Freemasons got together and was like, hey guys, you want to take over the world? It's going to be easy. Let's just do this. Let's implement this and that. Let's worship the devil. Let's sacrifice kids. Let's drink adrenochrome. That's all the government does. They're demonic and they're sick. That's all it is. Yeah, the demonic movement is getting out of hand. It's absolutely insane. And I used to be obsessed with demonic movies because I was into witchcraft and I was into the dark stuff. And like, I'm still wanting to see sinners because there's a lot of symbolism in it that I want to see that they're putting out there to people. I want to see what they're throwing in their faces. But I know watching movies like this allows demons in. And I'm strong enough to watch these movies and put it out there for you guys to see, like, this is what's going on. This is what the movie is. Don't watch it. Don't do this. Don't do that. That's why I watch these movies, so I can take that knowledge and give it to you guys. Some people don't like to watch the stuff like that. I'll watch it so I can tell you guys what's going on. Knock on wood. Okay, people that are like, oh, knock on wood, don't be doing that. That's demonic stuff. That's pagan witchcraft. Don't do that. You don't know what you're summoning when you do that. You could be summoning a little tiny spirit you don't know. Knocking on wood. Oh, let's knock on wood. Don't do that. That's pagan stuff. 21 years of witchcraft. I know what's going on in witchcraft. Heed my warning when I say this to you guys. It's witchcraft. Don't do it, please. Another thing is, there's no such thing as luck. Those are like, oh, that was lucky. This was lucky. That was lucky. It's no luck. It's just chance. That's all it is. By chance, that happened. That's all it is. Now, when it comes to chance about making the universe and all that, nope. Had to be a designer for it. It's the only thing that makes sense. If anybody tells you differently, they're a liar and they're comfortable with living in their sin. They don't want to believe in a God. They just want to do what they want to do, and that's all it is. Take it like that. These people want to believe and know God. They want to do what they want to do. As soon as the moment they get told they have to do this, they're like, no, there's no God. Like all these LGBTQ people thinking that they can transition from one gender to the other. It's impossible. You're perverting what God made you. You're made perfectly in God's eyes. And now the government is allowing you guys to transition into something that you're not because they're demonic. They want to keep everybody away from God because they work for the devil. It is their one goal is to keep everybody away from God, keep everybody sick, keep taking their money. Big pharma, keeping everybody sick so they can take their money. It's all it is. You're not even supposed to be taking medicine. You're really not. Not unless it is dire. Unless you are dying, that's the only time you're supposed to take medicine. Other than that, you're not supposed to be taking medicine. You're supposed to be praying to God, putting your faith in Him to take away your sickness because He can do it. He's kept people from getting these sicknesses that anybody who walks into a sickness like this, you will catch it. It's like smallpox, anything like that, you'll catch it. He's kept people from getting sick from smallpox. Not a carrier, just kept them from getting sick. It's amazing. God's glory is amazing. I saw that happen. Saw that, read about it. It was great. Anyway, moving on. Happy birthday. Happy birthday is also witchcraft. They're turning the lights down low. They're lighting candles, and everybody is chanting happy birthday. That's witchcraft. You know what it does to you? It makes you age. I know everybody ages, but words have power behind it. Everybody knows that. Words have power. The moment everybody gets together and starts chanting happy birthday and acknowledging that you're getting older, your body is now acknowledging that you're getting older and it's going to age faster. That's why they sing happy birthday. It's to make everybody age at a nice rate. That's all it is. It's witchcraft. That's why I do not sing happy birthday no more. You're chanting. You're bringing out demons when you do that. You're turning the lights down low and you're lighting candles and you're chanting. That is a ceremony. That is witchcraft, and it is bringing in demons, and it is bringing in the spirit of aging. That's all it is. It's going to cause you to age faster. So I do not like singing happy birthday. But I'm sorry I've ranted so much and been going so fast with this. I'm actually excited to get back on here with you guys because it's been a while, and I'm just excited to talk and get this stuff out there. But like I said, Easter's a pagan holiday. It's goddess of fertility. The rabbits, Easter, bunny humping. That's all that is. Bunnies breed constantly. That's why the mascot is a bunny rabbit, because they breed constantly. It is what it is. But I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry that the video wasn't as long as my usual ones, but I just wanted to get some of that stuff out there, just digging a little deeper into things that people just don't realize what they're doing. Going to these concerts, going to these clubs, it's all demonic. Girls wearing these crosses with their tits hanging out with the cross on them. I'm like, stop doing that. Girls in these OnlyFans wearing crosses around their necks. Stop doing that. They're like, well, I'm godly. God wants me to do this. No, He doesn't. Not at all. If you say God wants you to be a prostitute, you're out of your mind. And you are a prostitute if you're an OnlyFans, by the way. People want to be like, no, I don't like that word. I don't care what word you don't like. You're a prostitute. That's exactly what you're doing. You're just being a prostitute that's not basically having physical intercourse. But you're showing your body off to everybody online. You're showing your naked body to everybody. And once it's on the internet, it doesn't disappear. So just keep that in mind. Oh, body count doesn't matter. Yes, it does. It's disgusting if you sleep with a lot of people because that DNA stays in you. Look that up. For girls that are out there being promiscuous, the DNA of every man that you ever had sexual relations with stays with you. That's a fact. It actually stays with you. It's actually quite disgusting. So just think about that stuff. No one ever wants to think about the little things. They want to sugarcoat everything like, oh, there's nothing wrong with Easter. There's nothing wrong with Thanksgiving. People are stuffing their faces during Thanksgiving and becoming really fat. Overindulgence is a sin. Overindulgence of anything, video games, food, water. Overindulgence of anything is a sin. If you want to be good during Thanksgiving, take some of that extra food and take it to people who are in need. That's a good thing to do with some of that extra food. Don't just stuff your face and become bloated and fat and go to bed. Because that's what a lot of people like to do. Oh, I'm so fat, I gotta go lay down because you overindulged yourself. That's a sin. It's called gluttony. That's all it is, man. There's nothing wrong with video games. People on video games get angry and they literally smash their keyboards. I don't know how much money people have gone through by just destroying their keyboards. That's crazy. They crush their mouths, they rip off their headphones, they shatter them, and they throw. I'm like, you people are out of your mind. Like, yeah, I've come close to just snapping my controller in two, but I haven't done it. But I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming back to watch my video on digging a little deeper into the things that are unknown to most people or they just overlook. I love you, and I promise you I will be back soon. Glory to God. Praise be. Have a great morning, noon, or night. I love you all.